I want to show you a quick demo of the Grafana dashboards as code POC I've been working on and some of the concepts which enable it. I've tried to create a very simple replica of our current system. So what we have is a server to serve some API endpoints which have very simple good or bad responses. In this case, the server is built in Node. A function which fetches one of those endpoints randomly every few seconds to simulate traffic. A metrics endpoint which exposes the metrics via the Prometheus Node client. A Prometheus instance which scrapes the metrics, and a Grafana instance. And then it's all put together with Docker. So let's run it and see what it looks like. Okay, the Node application is running, and it's starting to make requests to itself. And you can see some of the bad ones going through, and some of the 200s going through as well. Let's take a look at what that looks like on the front end. So we can see the metrics endpoint here, and that's loading the metrics in a style that Prometheus can scrape. And if we refresh, we can see that's getting updated. And here we have the Prometheus instance. With the data coming through here. And now we can go to the Grafana instance and check out the dashboard which has just been generated. And so this is the output. We've generated a whole dashboard and 3 new panels, one for request rate, error rate, and latency, following the red standard. Each panel also has thresholds showing the potential upper and lower bounds. Now, this might not look very impressive, but keep in mind this has all just been generated from code and didn't exist before I ran the Docker command. Now let me show you how it's done. Let's take a look at some of the JSON that's behind this error rate panel. Grafana dashboards can be configured via its APIs using a JSON payload describing everything that should be on the dashboard and panels. But writing this manually would be very time-consuming. So Grafana's current recommendation for building dashboards with code is to use a JSON generation library called JSONit. Grafana even provides some JSONit templates and functions, which they've called Grafonit. Let me show you the JSONit code which is used to build a dashboard and panels. So here, very simply, we import the Grafana JSONit, and we can start building our dashboards. So I've created a folder called dashboards, and within that, a new dashboard called my cool dashboard. And you can set various options like the time frame it should be looking at, and you can start adding panels. So this panel I've named request rate. It's got a data source of Prometheus, which you set elsewhere, and I've set a threshold. And then you add the expression as you would normally. And the same for the rest of the panel. So they've got the error rate and the at-dex latency. And here I've set 3 thresholds just to show what it could look like with an OK, a warning, and a critical threshold. So you can see here, using JSONit or Grafonit code, you can build up these dashboards programmatically and then deploy them directly with the Grafana APIs, a shell script called Grizzly, or even Terraform. You can set the expression to build the panel with. You can set thresholds and colors and alerts. You can even build Prometheus alerts here using the same expressions. And that's where the power of using this approach lies. We can maintain Grafana dashboards in code, abstract away the code required to build panels for each service, use the same expressions for Grafana and Prometheus, and create functions to template the repetitive work. So if you imagine each service would have a simple JSON file within the metrics catalog, and we'd have an agreed service level objective for each for each metric. So error rate might be 0.9999, as in the case of this example, or we might want 0.95, which might be more reasonable. And that service level objective could be agreed up and down the company with the developer, with DevOps, with product, and we would take that number and convert it to an expression and then to an alert and a visualized line on the Grafana dashboard. So when it comes to the on-call, they can see at what level this service level objective is set visually and at what point the alert will trigger and why it's triggered.